A fortune worth millions, a family torn apart, and a courtroom battle that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Today we're diving deep into a real-life drama that has all the makings of a Hollywood blockbuster. This isn't just about money. It's about betrayal, secrets, and the question of who truly deserves to inherit a massive estate. It all began with the passing of a reclusive tycoon, a figure known more for his immense wealth than his family ties. Instead of leaving his fortune to his immediate children, who had been by his side for years, the bulk of the estate was bequeathed to a distant relative no one had heard from in decades. The children, feeling betrayed and disinherited, immediately contested the will. Their argument? Undue influence. They claimed this long-lost relative had reappeared just months before their father's passing, preying on his vulnerability and manipulating him into changing his final wishes. They painted a picture of a calculated scheme, a plot to steal a legacy that was rightfully theirs. This is where the story gets really interesting. The legal battle began, and the courtroom became a stage for a family's dirty laundry to be aired for all to see. The legal teams on both sides were formidable. Children's lawyers brought in witnesses, longtime house staff, family friends, even medical experts to testify about the tycoon's declining mental state in his final months. They spoke of confusion, memory lapses, and moments of paranoia. Their goal was to prove he lacked the testamentary capacity to make such a drastic change to his will. They argued that he was not of sound mind and that the new will was therefore invalid. It was a compelling argument, one that tugged at the heartstrings and painted the children as victims of a cruel injustice. But the defense had a different story to tell. They portrayed the distant relative not as a manipulative predator, but as a compassionate caregiver who reconnected with an old family member out of love, not greed. They argued that the tycoon had grown distant from his own children, who, he felt, were only interested in his money. This relative, they claimed, offered him genuine companionship and emotional support in his final days, something his own kids had failed to provide. The defense presented letters and emails seemingly from the tycoon himself, expressing his disillusionment with his immediate family and his newfound affection for this distant heir. As the trial progressed, the details became more and more complex. Financial records were scrutinized, phone calls were analyzed, and personal diaries were entered into evidence. One of the most dramatic moments came when a former nurse took the stand. She testified that she had overheard heated arguments between the tycoon and his children about money, arguments that left him distressed and agitated. She also recalled the distant relative spending hours just talking with him, reading to him, bringing him a sense of peace his own family couldn't. This testimony was a major blow to the children's case. It suggested that their father's decision might have been a deliberate and rational one, born from disappointment rather than delusion. Then came the question of the signature on the new will. The children's side brought in a handwriting expert who claimed the signature was a forgery, or at the very least showed signs of being signed under duress. The expert pointed out inconsistencies in the pressure and flow of the script, suggesting it wasn't the firm, confident signature the tycoon was known for. However, the defense countered with their own expert, who argued that such variations were common in the elderly, especially those with fluctuating health. The battle of the experts left the jury with a difficult decision: who to believe. Each day in court revealed another layer of family dysfunction. Stories of childhood neglect, sibling rivalries, and long-held resentments came to the surface. It became clear that this wasn't just a fight over an inheritance. It was the culmination of decades of unspoken issues. The courtroom was silent as the eldest son gave his testimony, his voice cracking with emotion as he described feeling like he was never good enough for his father. He insisted this wasn't about the money, but about his father's love and recognition, which he felt was stolen from him at the very end. On the other side, the distant relative remained composed, testifying that their only intention was to bring comfort to a lonely old man. They claimed the tycoon saw in them a kindred spirit, someone who understood him in a way his own family never did. They even produced a small, handwritten note from the tycoon, written just a week before he died. It simply said, "Thank you for being my friend." Was this a genuine expression of gratitude, or a cleverly planted piece of evidence? The jury was tasked with untangling this web of emotion and intrigue. As closing arguments were made, the lawyers delivered their final, powerful appeals. The children's attorney portrayed them as the rightful heirs, cheated out of their birthright by a cunning interloper. He asked the jury to restore justice and honor the family's legacy. The defense lawyer, in turn, painted a picture of a man's final autonomous act. He argued that every individual has the right to leave their property to whomever they choose for whatever reason they choose, and that the tycoon's final wish was to reward genuine kindness over a sense of familial obligation. The jury deliberated for 3 long days. The tension was palpable. The family members sat on opposite sides of the courtroom, not even making eye contact. The world's media waited outside, eager for a verdict. Finally, the jury returned. The foreman stood up, and a hush fell over the room. He announced the verdict. The jury found in favor of the defense. The new will was upheld. The distant relative would inherit the millions. The courtroom erupted. The children were devastated, some breaking down in tears. The distant relative showed little emotion, simply nodding to their legal team. The outcome sent shockwaves through the legal community and served as a stark reminder of the complexities of estate law and the unpredictability of human relationships. What do you think? Did the jury make the right call? Is this a case of a man exercising his final free will, or a tragic story of manipulation and family betrayal? This case shows that when it comes to family and fortune, the truth is often far more complicated than it seems. Thanks for watching our deep dive into this incredible courtroom drama. If you find these kinds of stories as fascinating as we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this case in the comments below. Till next time, stay curious.